Howdy, folks. I'm That Literary Lady, and you're listening to On the Air with That Literary Lady. I've been out for a while working on several projects, but I'm back and stronger than ever. Starting January 2013, in addition to being on Blogger.com, YouTube, and iTunes, On the Air with That Literary Lady will stream live via Blog Talk Radio, so stay tuned for those details. So, I've been asked, what exactly is On the Air with That Literary Lady, and who is That Literary Lady? I'll give you the short version. First, I am That Literary Lady. My name is Yolanda Johnson Bryant. I go by Yolanda M. Johnson Bryant. I am the owner of Literary Wonders Media Group, Bryant Consulting, and the founder of Sweetheart to the Triad. I am the author of several novels and co-authored projects. I am a literary, writing, publishing, social media, marketing, and entrepreneurial consultant, career Toastmaster, and an overall geek. Sometimes being a geek is a good thing. Currently, I serve as the Area 42 Governor for District 37 Toastmasters in North Carolina. I'm also the Vice President of Education for Speakerpreneur Toastmasters and a member and charter member of Improv Masters Toastmasters, and they're both located in Greensboro, North Carolina. I've served and have served many positions within Toastmasters, and currently I'm working on my DTM, which is Distinguished Toastmasters. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I've lived in Phoenix, San Diego, Dallas, and now in Greensboro. And throughout my nearly 20 years in this industry, people have found it hard to remember my real name, so they often call me That Literary Lady. I'll be out in the store somewhere, and they'll say, hey, there's That Literary Lady, to which I gladly answer to. So that name, That Literary Lady, stuck with me, and I adopted it as my brand. Now, what is On the Air with That Literary Lady? And is it just for those in the literary industry? Absolutely not. As I stated, I am a consulting, writing, publishing, literacy, social media marketing, and entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial consultant. And I'm a pretty good trash talker when it comes to my Dallas Cowboys. So you might anger some people here. So here you have it, folks. That's who That Literary Lady is and what she stands for. So now let's move on to our guest. Our guest today is the beautiful and talented Elisa Gabrielle, and she's going to correct me if I pronounce that wrong. Elisa is an author of many literary works, and she is the founder, president, and CEO of Peace in the Storm Publishing. Please welcome to the show today, Elisa Gabrielle. Hi, Elisa. How are you?
Hi, Yolanda. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed your intro. You're a marvelous lady. I'm so inspired just from hearing it. Thank you.
Oh, you inspire me and others every day. If anyone has Elisa on their Facebook page, she is very positive, and she spews the positivity every single day, and she's very inspiring. The only fault that I have with Elisa is that Elisa is a Giants fan, and that's just like putting a pretty picture in some bad wrapping.
Elisa Gabrielle throws up her hands, and she's going to maintain her level of respect for Yolanda so we can make it through this interview, because although she loves Yolanda, Yolanda is a Cowboys fan. And
I am a very avid Cowboys fan. It's so funny. But it's nice to be able to talk junk with someone and do it respectfully and still have love for each other afterwards.
Yes,
I've seen friendships ruined over rivalries like this, so.
Yeah, me too. And it's sad. I just say to myself, she's so beautiful, but she can't have it all. So she has to be Cowboys fan. I should be perfect. That's how I justify it to myself.
And it's funny. I said the same thing about you, but hey, all sports aside, I have to let everyone know that Elisa's company, Peace in the Storm Publishing, is a 2009 and 2010 African American Literary Show winner for Independent Publisher of the Year. Those are awesome accolades. Tell us a little bit about
in 2011 as well. We won for 2011 last year. I was totally shocked when we won. And I was shocked so much that a good friend of mine, author and publisher Torian Ferguson, he stood up and he whispered in my ear as I was returning to my seat. He said, "You're not mad that you won, are you?" And I said, "No." He said, "Congratulations." I guess the look of shock on my face just startled him, and he's one of few people in the industry who can set me straight and call me at midnight to tell me about myself. So he set me straight that day. But we had an awesome time. It's always a pleasure to be at the awards every year. You get to rub shoulders with some of the people that you consider great, and some people that are new and they look up to you. So you're like right in the middle, and it's always an awesome feeling. For me in particular, to be able to bring my authors with me, and not to win the award so much for myself, but just to celebrate their success and their talent. You know, I always tell people this is so much not about me. I mean, I've won enough, I've climbed those mountains. It's a beautiful thing. But I'm not moved by it one way or the other. What I do enjoy seeing is someone like Lorraine or Pam or Cheryl or Brian or any one of my authors be able to be nominated because I feel like they deserve it. They work hard. They stay a cut above the rest. And I don't mean that in a competition manner. I mean just as far as they are in competition with themselves. They want to be better than they were yesterday. Because I see how hard they work, I'd like to see them receive the rewards and the fruits of their labor.
Okay. And the 2012 award's coming up soon, isn't it?
Yes, it's the end of September. Yes, ma'am.
Good. I know you'll be front and center, and I'm sure you'll probably win this year too. So that's what excellence does.
Oh wow. Well, you know, it's I'm sort of speechless about it. We were nominated in 6 categories this year.
Wow.
And I think that's the most that we've ever had in 1 year, 6 categories. So I'm just blown away. I'm happy to be nominated. We do work very hard. If we win, it's a beautiful thing. If we don't win, I feel like God has given us the victory anyway because we still do what we love to do and we're enjoying it. So I think the victory is already ours.
Right. And I have to say, a lot of people are skeptical, or let me back up here quickly. We all know that, especially in this day and age in the literary industry, it is hard to find a publisher to publish your work. So a lot of people are going the indie route, and it's been so hard for people. They're afraid of a lot of indie publishers because, of course, we have the vanity publishers out there and some indie publishers that just don't do what they're supposed to do, and they really don't mean their authors any good. And one thing I can say about Elisa, again, if you follow Elisa on Facebook, you will see Elisa is out there pounding the pavement for her authors, and I found that very unique because I can say in my 20 years, I can say about 95% of indie publishers that I've come in contact with don't go out there and work the pavement for their authors. And I see her driving, and I don't mean from city to city, from state to state, making sure she's there to support her authors. And that is what we need more of in this industry, so people are not being taken advantage of or are scared just to approach indie publishers.
You know, I hear it a lot, Yolanda, from authors who inquire about submitting to Peace in the Storm Publishing. And, you know, you're an expert in this field, so you've been doing this over 20 years, and so your track record is there, and you know what you see and you know what you've heard and have experienced along the way. I think that for me, and I'm nowhere near a perfect publisher, but when I came into this game, I did it not looking at what anyone else was doing. I kind of stay in my own bubble, and I do things that I think are necessary for Peace in the Storm Publishing without regard to what the next indie publisher is doing. Right. And I believe that whatever you want to do over there to the left and to the right is fine, but I'm going to continue to look forward and stay in my own bubble. And I would never bring someone on and not treat them the way that I would want to be treated by a small press. Now, I must say that as a publisher, our job is to put that book in your hand and make that book available for the readers to purchase. And I really think that's the job of the publisher. Right. I think that what I've done with my authors is very unique, as you stated, but I wouldn't have it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question, Elisa, but first I want to mention an article I read in the Huffington Post yesterday by Penny C. Sanseveri, and the title of the article is 7 Signs That You're Not Ready to Publish. And I'll just read off the bullet points that she made. I won't read the whole article. You can actually go and find it on Huffington Post. But number 1 was you haven't researched the publishing industry. 2 was you haven't researched your market or genre. 3 is you hope to get famous. 4, you believe that book sales are what it's all about. 5, you haven't started marketing your book. 6, you're impatient. And 7, you have no marketing plan. And as I mentioned earlier, I've been in this industry nearly 20 years, and there are still things that shouldn't surprise me, but do surprise me when people constantly come to me, well, I want to know how to write a book. Tell me how to write a book. Well, have you done any research? No. Well, you know, I'll be happy to consult you on that, but I do charge a fee for that. And they tend to get mad, or that kind of tends to just steer them another way. But it amazes me how many people who say they want to write a book and they've done no research at all. One, I want to ask you, what do you think about the points that I mentioned in the article? And if you like, I can send you a link to the article. And then what are some of your things that you find that are frustrating when authors try to approach you? And I know they do every day, because they do me every day. So what are your frustrations, and what do you think about those points I mentioned on that article?
You know, at face value, without having read the article, I will say that those points are very much on point. You really want to research anything new that you're trying to do. You want to research it. You want to inform yourself as much as possible. As they say, knowledge is key, and that applies with anything in life. The second part of that is I think because this is in the arts, writing is part of the arts, and when people want to write, it's considered a dream in their eyes. And I think the confusion comes in when you are pursuing your dream as opposed to really understanding that you're going into business. And so it's not to take up for a naive author. I just think that they get the two confused, or they don't recognize, is a better way to say it, is that it's starting a business, and you have to have a marketing plan when you start a business. You have to do research before you start a business. And I think that with authors, the new authors, they're just looking at it as, look, I want to write a book and I want to fulfill my dream, and that's where it begins and ends for them. Right. So, yes, I agree with the bullet points. You have to do all of those things, but the translation has to come to the author. This is something that is a business for you. It's not just writing a book. The only time I would disagree with the list is if you simply want to just write a book with no expectation of anything in return, and you just want to write that book for the sole purpose of saying, okay, I scratched this off my bucket list. But, you know, as the majority rules, it is a good idea to always research anything before you start it. Right. When authors approach me, they do have the flights of fancy, and it's, you know, it's about, well, I have this book, it's going to change your company, it's going to change the world. And, you know, I hear that probably 4 or 5 times a week. Okay, well, send me, you know, the first 3 chapters and a marketing plan and a query letter. They don't have any of that together. Right. So I'm not the traditional publisher where I'll say, okay, well, you know, you got to go find the next one. I try to talk to a prospective author and guide them along the way. But most times it's, okay, I have this really dope book, and if you publish it, we're all going to be rich. And that's really what comes my way, 9 times out of 10. Okay.
And going back to the bullet points, one of the things, if any of those are true, I mean, I believe that they're all true for very many reasons without actually getting into the article. But the one that I agree with the most is the research. And I always tell my clients or potential clients or people who just approach me and ask me what to do, you have to do research in this particular industry. And it's not something that you can say, well, I did research it about 6 or 7 months ago, because as we both know, things change in this industry on a daily basis.
Yes.
So at least do some research, set up your Google alerts, whatever you have to. You know, we have the tools of social media. Follow like-minded people on Facebook, on Twitter. I know you do, and I know I do. We post information every single day about the industry, the changes, what's new, and different things that are going on. So I would really, really, encourage people to research, because sometimes, and it has happened to me, and I've heard best-selling authors who have said, it's frustrating to them that people will come to, them, because it is a business, and being that you're a business owner, you are working, that people will come to them like they owe them to give them the information they're looking for when they don't have things ready because they haven't researched. and they actually get mad at the author and say something to the effect, well, they think they're better than everybody else. They don't want to help anybody or whatever. And on my end, and you know me pretty well, I'll tell people, I help people all the time, and I'm sure you can vouch for me when I say I help people all the time. But being that this is my business, I have what I call an allotted amount of pro bono tickets that I take every year. I won't give that amount out because I don't want anybody calling and saying, well, you've only given out 2 and you have 2 left. I mean, that's really not up for them to say, but I help people all the time, and many times I will go over my allotted amount because you have to set that up because it is a business. You can't help everybody, and you can't help everybody for free, or you wouldn't have a business. But I don't mind helping anyone who has done some research and come to me and say, hey, I researched this, and this is what I found. You know, where should I go from here or there? So that to me is one of my pet peeves. Now, let's go on to social media because I am a social media geek. What are your thoughts on social media? I always tell my clients that probably should be their first target of marketing because it's free for now, and we love free. What do you think about social media in the publishing industry?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's definitely a vital tool in your marketing. Like you said, for now, it is free, and you can reach so many people that you won't just crisscrossing the country and spending a ton of money. Not saying that you don't have to do that. You have to, you know, meet face-to-face with your readers, but this can put you right at the fingertips of thousands of readers on a daily basis. It's quite effective, and if you use it in the right way, you can gain a lot of followers and a lot of readership just from interacting appropriately through social media. So it's for me and for Peace in the Storm Publishing, I can't tell you the ratio that it has translated into actual book sales, but I can tell you that the readership of our words and our blogs and our newsletters and just following us as a whole has been just overwhelming. I'm sure that we have over, 5,000 followers in our different fan pages and things that we have set up on social media. So it's been quite effective for us for so many reasons, and not, you hope the bottom line will grow and the sales will grow, but we do something different at Peace in the Storm. And so as long as we're affecting positive change through 1 or 10,000 people, that's what our goal is, and we've been able to achieve that just with reaching out to our friends and building new readership on a weekly basis because of social media.
Right. And you have to be very active and very engaging. Otherwise, it's not going to work. If you put out a generic post 1 week and don't do anything else for like 3 or 4 weeks after that, or if someone posts or responds to your post and you don't answer, that's not being engaging, and pretty much most of the time people are going to unlike you. And it happens often because we all know that Facebook only allows the average personal user 5,000, combination of 5,000 friends and 5,000 likes. So if that person is up to 498 likes and they have 3 companies that they're looking at and you're not engaging to them or you're not active, they're going to unlike you real fast. So that's one of the things I do like with Peace in the Storm Publishing, as well as other companies online and other brands that engage in social media, because you have to do it on a regular basis, otherwise it won't be effective.
Yeah, absolutely, and you have to do it not just every day, but at different times of the day, because you're trying to reach people who are in different time zones, and you have to consider the fact that, most of your readers are going to be women, and most of the readers are working moms, and so they have to work, and they have to feed their children, and they have to come home and do this and that, so you have to do it all day long, really, so that you can reach everybody that you're intending to reach. So it's a daunting task, but it's absolutely necessary.
It is very necessary. And for those who are like, well, I don't want to be online all day, you really don't have to. Again, it goes back to that research. If you research, there are social media tools that will allow you to do what we call scheduling posts via Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and so on. My favorite is Hootsuite. You can post it for midnight. You can post it for 2 months. You know, if you're on vacation, you can still be posting with actually being in front of your computer. So it is all about doing research. Now, Lisa, I want to bring up something that you said earlier. You said that you feel that it is a publisher's job to, make sure that book is in front of the readers. I want you to expand upon that, because one thing I do tell my clients is even traditional publishers have to market their work, because the publishers are going to do what they're going to do, whatever their rules are. However, even people like your Stephen Kings and your Eric Jerome Dickeys and your Lisa Gabrielles and so on, who are well known, they still have to do their own marketing. However, they may have hired someone to do the marketing for them, but in a lot of cases, they do their own marketing. So can you kind of expand upon what you meant by you think the publishers should do that for the authors?
Well, my answer is two parts.
Okay.
I believe that a publisher, especially an indie publisher, is supposed to take that book from, let's say, manuscript to masterpiece, and they need to make that book available for purchase for the author. And this is what I hear and what I've seen throughout the years from publishers. They have to take that book from manuscript to masterpiece and make it available.
Right.
Most times, from what I've witnessed, unless you're a really very well-known author that are going to bring those sales in, that's what they do. What I do at Peace in the Storm Publishing is I take that book from manuscript to masterpiece, and then we ride that promotional wagon until the wheels fall off. I have titles that came out in 2009 that we still promote and we integrate it into our current promotions.
Right.
Not everybody does that. I choose to do it. I don't know that it's an industry standard, or it should be. But with Peace in the Storm Publishing, like I mentioned earlier, I just stay in my bubble and I do what I believe is right for my company and for my authors. And I think that's what the appeal is, and it's why it gets so many requests for submissions from other authors, mainstream authors, and from indie authors, because they see that my authors are spoiled to a degree and that I always keep their name in the spotlight.
Right.
But I will say that the job that I have to do is to make sure that you have a quality book in hand and that it's available for the reader. I don't know that my job is to promote their titles, but I choose to, and I choose to without ceasing, because that's what they deserve, and that's what I feel the best thing is to do. So I hope that answered your question.
Okay, that did answer my question. And if you could give a marketing tip, besides we just mentioned social media for authors, because it's important that they understand once you do publish that book, no one's going to buy that book unless they know about the book. So besides social media, what's another good resource that you could give for our authors to market their work?
Okay, I would say you want to do a couple things. You want to develop an opt-in email list so that you can start to email your readers on a monthly basis. I think the biggest thing for me, and this is going to sound so awkward, is to make yourself human to your readers. And it doesn't mean that you have to be vulnerable and give your whole self away. But one thing I see with new authors is buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. Right. As opposed to, hi, my name is Elisa Gabrielle. Right. I have this new book and this and this and this. Tell them all the benefits and the features, as opposed to, here, buy my book. Like it's something that I have to do. Right. I just have a problem with that. I think that you have to become human and a person with a dream, and that will get someone to pay attention. So humanize yourself, first of all. You have to get to know your potential reader. Like I was explaining earlier, with the market being so oversaturated with everything from very well-written books to really poorly underdeveloped and under-edited and underwritten books. And with the economy being the way it is and with technology advances and all of these things that are clashing, you have to really earn someone's $15 for that book, for that paperback, and maybe $10 for an ebook. And it's 1,000 or 2 or 3 or 5,000 of us that's vying for that same $15. What's going to separate you? Why is somebody going to buy your book as opposed to the 10,000 behind you trying to get that reader to buy that book? Well, you have to do things the right way. You can't say, buy my book. Exactly. This is who I am. This is what I wrote about. This is why this is important. Please give me a chance. It's almost like, please listen to my demo. It really is. So that's important. You have to develop a relationship with your reader, and I think you can do that effectively by creating an opt-in list. Maybe do some blogs. Let them get to see the soul of who you are. Excerpts always work. If you have some type of cause that you can tie to your book, you want to use that to your full advantage. And even if you don't, it's just a really hot story, you want to use that to your advantage as well. So there's many things that you can do outside of social media. Just being face-to-face with your reader, book signings at bookstores, book signings at hair salons, book signings at churches, anywhere that you can meet face-to-face and they can see the human side of you, that person that wrote that book that had a dream and it's come to fruition, because that's universal. We all have something inside of us that we want to do. And most times when people see that you had the courage to follow your dream, and it's liberating for you, but it's also liberating for them. So you'll engage them that way. So I know that doesn't sound like marketing talk, but for me it works.
It actually is. It actually is. And you mentioned being human, and I think in addition to being human, you have to also be somewhat professional. Like you said, there are people who will approach you, buy my book, and that's it.
Right.
There's no introduction, and like you said, they make it seem like you're obligated to do it when you're vying for attention of thousands of other people. There are books that come out in the market, thousands per day or per month, or however the statistics work, but your mom taught you or your grandma taught you, a little bit of honey takes it a long way by saying,
right.
Hey, my name is such and so, how are you? I have this idea, and if you have a moment, whatever the case may be, but to someone that comes up to me or sends me an email or calls me without any kind of salutation or anything, I honestly, I pretty much don't deal with them, because I realize that's how the rest of the relationship is going to be. You have to know better in order to get better. And if you approach someone with your storyline per se, you might get a little bit further if you're a little more cordial, like you said, a little more human, and add that a little bit more to, professionalism, because you're right, that person that you're approaching really doesn't have to read your work, because they have other people coming at them asking them the same question, but they have other people coming to them in a more professional and a serious manner. I call it serious.
Right. Yeah.
By just saying, buy my book, you're not serious.
Mm-mm.
Because
they think they are.
Right, they think they are. And I want to ask you one last question, and this is a taboo subject for me, because I've gotten mixed reviews about this topic, and I've talked about it several times before. I always tell my clients, be very, 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 very careful on what you put on your cover and what you name your book, because it could be the make or break of your book sale. You could have a great story on the inside, but if people cannot get past that cover or that title, you are doomed from the start. And me personally, I don't really like people on my cover, period.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it somewhat limits me, and that's just my personal opinion. If you go back and look at the majority of my books, they may have a silhouette on the cover, but you still can't really tell what it is or who it is, just because, in my experience, it has limited my my book sales. And when I went to that particular format, I noticed that I got more book sales across the board. What do you think about book covers?
Oh, good question. If you look at the Peace in the Storm covers, and this is not a slight to anyone in the industry who chooses to do the covers the way they want to do it.
Right.
I know that someone is out there looking for me to say something that's going to make me trip and fall, and that's just not going to happen.
And that's not my purpose. Right.
Yeah, no, I know that, and it's just not going to happen. You do you, and I'm going to do me.
Right.
I think that for book covers, I really like an elegant, sophisticated cover.
Right.
I really, and if I have to pay $1,500 for a cover,
right,
then I will. If I have to pay $2,000 for a cover for it to be right, then I will. I like them to look just as good as something coming out of Simon & Schuster.
Right, exactly. Okay. Well, I thought I would ask that, and it was in no way to down anyone in the industry on my behalf, because again, like Elisa said, do you? I just, personally, in my experience, have worked with clients who have had originally had book covers that did not work, and once they changed, and it just depends on who your market is, and that goes back to the research of who your target audience is and your genre and so on. Now we're going to go to our personal.
Everyone is free to do what they want. I really am very particular about the covers and that we produce with Peace in the Storm Publishing. I don't care if they cost $2,000 or $3,000 a cover.
Right.
There's a saying, you can judge a book by its cover, and in so many ways that is absolutely true. For example, if you take Stacey Deanne's cover, The Season of Sin, it is quite elegant. People are attracted to beauty, and they'll pick that up before they pick up something that is not beautiful. Right. So I make sure that I pay close attention to the cover of anything that I produce. And if you look at the Peace in the Storm Publishing covers, if you're being honest, you have to admit that they're all quite elegant. They're very professional. I don't want you to look at my covers and say, oh, that's coming from a small press. That's right. Coming from an indie house. That's really important to me, in addition to the typesetting, to the words. I mean, nothing is more important than the other. I mean, I take them all very seriously when we're producing a book. Everything has to be above board. And as far as the cover is concerned, even to the author photos, I make them all go get professional headshots, because we're not in this as a joke, and we don't want to take our readers as a joke, and we take them very seriously, and we know that their $15 is worth a lot to them, and it's worth a lot to us. So we have to put out the best product possible so that we've earned their $15 and their loyal readership.
Right. And there you have it, folks. You can forget about the stigma that indie publishers don't care about their authors, because it is obvious. And, again, I really encourage you, if you can. I'm not sure if she has any space left, but she does have space on her Facebook fan page for Peace in the Storm Publishing. If you just follow Elisa, you will see how hard she does work for her authors, and her authors appreciate that, and they do appraise her and let her know that they appreciate what she does, because, again, she does what I say 95% of indie authors do not do, and that's one of the reasons why she stands out to me. She's a good person to know. She helps people. She's very, very inspirational, and she's very positive, and that's what you need in this industry. You have to have a thick skin in this industry, but you want to surround yourself by positive people, because if you do not, it will eat you up. And with that being said, I want to go to our self-promotion segment. Elisa, this is your time to tell our listening audience a little more about you, yourself, the writer, the business owner, Peace in the Storm Publishing, and if you can, what's coming up for the rest of 2012 and 2013, and how our audience can find you online.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you again, Yolanda, for the opportunity. Anytime someone reaches out and wants to help us spread the word about Peace in the Storm Publishing, I certainly don't take that for granted. So your friendship is very much appreciated. So for 2012, we have Jacqueline D. Moore's Chains of Deception that will be releasing around Christmas time. And that book covers something that is not talked about very often in our African-American community, and that is sexual abuse. Right. Following that, we have a really good 2013 planned, and this is it's just something I'm so excited about. We're going to extend the Heat of the Night book into a duets book, which I've never seen done before. Okay. So we have 7 duets, and the title of the book is Pillow Talk in the Heat of the Night, and you can find that on Facebook under Pillow Talk Duets. and PillowTalkDuets.com. And so it's seven male and female authors are going to duet a story together. And I've just never seen it done, and I always try to be a trailblazer when it's appropriate and when it's called for, and you know, not just for the sake of creating a new path. And I just thought the idea was so hot, and the book is just turning out phenomenally. So that's going to be releasing sometime in 2013. What else do we have? We have Brian Gange's new book, Lord Deliver Me from Church Folks, and that's going to be available. Lorraine Elzia has something new, as well as Cheryl Gordon Love. So you can keep up with everything on peaceinthestormpublishing.com. And also on Facebook, you can type in Peace in the Storm Publishing, and you'll be directed to all of our fan pages there. Lastly, I do have my own book coming out. The Eye of the Beholder is novel number 4 for me, and then I have novel number 5 and 6. That should be releasing the end of 2013 and early 2014. So we're going to be busy, and I'm looking forward to it all. And I'm sure I didn't mention everything, but that's what I can think of right now.
Okay, they can go to the website to find out. And I have to give a shameless plug out. I love all your authors, but you already know who my favorite one is. But unfortunately, like you, he has that fault. He's a Giants fan, but I still love him because he's like my little brother, and we tease each other. So shout out to Brian Ganges, and I look forward to reading his work, your work, and all the other authors' work in 2012 and 2013. And thank you for being such an inspiration to this industry.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, and it's just a blessing to just to have created my path and to do something different from what others are doing, and I appreciate that gift from God, and I thank you for supporting that.
You are so welcome, and we thank you. Well, folks, that is the end of this segment for other industries. So if you have an inquiry, please, again, contact me at info@thatliterarylady.com. Again, that's info@thatliterary.com. In the meantime, catch us on iTunes, Blogger, thatliterarylady.com, as well as our YouTube channel. And remember, coming January 2013, you can find us on Blog Talk Radio. Have a great evening.